need to tell you something. It's not my story, not exactly, but it belongs to my best friend, and to me, because I lived through pieces of it. And maybe by telling you, I can finally sleep again. I remember the first time she mentioned it, it was raining. Not the soft kind of rain you fall asleep to, but heavy, uneven drops, slapping against the windows like restless fingers. We were sitting in her apartment, the old pipes rattling every time the wind pressed against the walls. The place always smelled faintly of damp wood and dust, like the building itself was tired. She leaned closer to me, her voice barely above a whisper, and asked, "Do you hear that?" At first I thought she meant the storm, but then she added, "Someone's breathing out there." I pressed my ear against the cold glass, listening. All I heard was rain. But when I pulled back, her face was pale, her hand shaking against the mug she held. That was the beginning. Just a sound only she seemed to notice, but it wouldn't stop there. After that night, I tried to brush it off. Maybe she'd had too much coffee. Maybe the storm was messing with her head. We laughed about it the next day, or at least I tried to laugh. But she didn't. A week later, she called me again, her voice thin over the phone. "He's back," she whispered. Down on the street. I hurried over, half annoyed, half worried. When I reached her apartment, the rain had stopped, leaving the pavement slick, reflecting the pale glow of the street lamps. And there he was, a figure, standing perfectly still across the road. No umbrella, no jacket, just dark clothes clinging to him like a shadow. His face, I couldn't make it out. He didn't move, not even when a car passed. Just watching, I told myself it was nothing. Some drunk guy, a neighbor, someone waiting for a ride. But the way she clutched my arm, her nails digging into my skin, told me she believed otherwise. And when we finally looked again, he was gone. Just gone. The street empty, the silence heavier than before. That's when I stopped laughing. The night after we saw him, she didn't sleep. I know because she called me at 3 a.m., whispering so low I could barely hear her. "He's at my window." I wanted to laugh, to tell her it was impossible. She lived on the 3rd floor. No balcony, no fire escape, but then she put the phone down, left the line open. I heard it. A sound so faint I thought it was static at first. Tap, tap. Like someone's fingernail dragging against the glass, pausing between each touch as if waiting for her reaction. My chest tightened, the silence on the line broken only by her shaky breathing. I shouted her name, but she didn't answer. Then the tapping stopped. The line went dead. When I rushed to her place the next morning, she opened the door looking hollow, her eyes rimmed red. She said nothing, just pointed to the window. On the fogged glass, faint but unmistakable, were marks. 5 curved lines, like someone had pressed their hand there from the outside and dragged their fingers down. At first, it was just one call. "Unknown number." She picked up and the line was silent. She told me she almost laughed, thinking it was a wrong dial. But then came the breathing, slow, heavy, too close to the receiver. She hung up. Seconds later, the phone rang again. Same number, same silence, same breathing. By the 3rd call, she didn't answer, but the voicemail caught it. When she played it for me, the message was nothing but static, jagged and broken. Until at the very end, a voice rasped one word. Her name. Hearing it on tape made my stomach twist. It wasn't just some prank. Whoever it was knew her, knew us. The next night, she unplugged her phone. But it didn't matter, because at 2 a.m. my own phone lit up unknown number. And when I answered, there was silence. Then the breathing began. After that call, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd made a mistake answering. Like I'd let something in. The next few days, I caught myself looking over my shoulder more often than usual. Walking home at night, I felt eyes on me. The street was empty, but I swear I could hear the sound of footsteps that stopped when I stopped. One evening, I stayed late at work. As I left the building, I saw him, or someone, standing across the street again. Same stillness, same dark clothes. I froze. For a long moment, we just stood there, the city noise fading behind me until it felt like I was caught inside a vacuum. No movement, no gestures, just that unbearable weight of being seen. Then a bus passed, and when it moved on, he was gone. I told myself I was imagining it, that maybe my friend's paranoia was rubbing off on me. But later that night, as I lay in bed, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. When I answered, the line hissed with static, and beneath it, 2 voices breathing in sync. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to her apartment that night, determined to stay until morning, to prove to both of us that this was just fear eating us alive. We locked the door, drew the curtains, left the TV on low for background noise. For a while it almost felt normal. Almost. Then around midnight the sound began. Not tapping this time, not from the window, but from inside the walls. At first it was faint, like pipes shifting or wood settling. But it grew sharper, rhythmic. A scrape, then a pause, then another scrape. Like someone dragging their nails along the plaster, just inches away from where we sat. She grabbed my hand so tightly I thought she'd break my fingers. Her eyes were wide, fixed on the wall beside the couch. The TV flickered. Static hissed for a moment, even though the channel hadn't changed. And in that static, a voice low and warped seemed to form a single word. Closer. We both heard it. I know we did. Because when I turned to her, her lips were trembling and she whispered, "You heard it too, didn't you?" By morning, we were wrecks. Bloodshot eyes, nerves frayed, hearts still racing from every tiny creak in the apartment. We called the police. 2 officers came, their heavy boots echoing down the hallway like a promise of safety. They checked the locks, the windows, even tapped on the walls where we swore the scraping had come from. Nothing. One of them smiled, the kind of smile you give to calm a child. "Old buildings make noise," he said. "Pipes, wood, even rodents. You're just..." Wound up. My friend tried to explain about the phone calls, the man outside, the word on the TV. Her voice shook, desperation bleeding through every syllable. But the officers only exchanged a look. One leaned closer to me and whispered, "You should keep an eye on her. Stress can make people imagine things." And just like that, they left. We stood there in the silence they left behind. The door shut, their footsteps fading down the hall. Then from the bathroom came the faintest sound. A single drop of water hitting porcelain, followed by something else. A low breath, long, slow. But when we ran to check, the room was empty. Only the mirror was fogged over, though neither of us had taken a shower. And across the glass, traced by a fingertip, were 2 words, "Not her." Those words on the mirror stayed with me. Not her. I told myself it didn't mean anything. A trick of condensation, a prank, anything to keep me from thinking the alternative. But the truth is, I started to feel it. That sense of being followed wasn't just when I was at her place anymore. It followed me home. One night, while brushing my teeth, I glanced at my bathroom mirror. For a moment, I thought I saw movement behind me. A blur, tall and dark, standing just past my shoulder. I spun around. Nothing. Just the shower curtain swaying slightly, though the window was shut tight. Later, in bed, I woke to the sound of my phone buzzing. Another unknown number. I answered, my throat dry. No voice, no static. Just breathing. Except this time, it matched mine. Every inhale, every exhale, perfectly mirrored. As if someone was lying right beside me, breathing in rhythm. I dropped the phone, heart pounding, forcing myself not to look at the empty side of the bed. I told myself it was empty. I had to. But in the darkness, I swear I felt the mattress dip. I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. The next morning, I went back to her apartment, pale and shaking. She looked the same, like we were both carrying the same weight now. We decided to search. Every corner, every cabinet, every vent. Something had to explain it. In the kitchen behind the refrigerator, we found it. A smear, dark, almost black. I told myself it was rust, but when she touched it, her fingers came away red. Fresh. She pulled me toward the bathroom next, pointing at the mirror where the words had been. Nothing there now, just our reflections, tired and broken. But when the light flickered, I saw it. A handprint. Faint. Pressed from the inside of the glass as though something had touched it. From the wrong side. We both stumbled back, knocking over a cup that shattered against the tile. The sound rang through the apartment, sharp and final. And then, from the vent above us, came a whisper. Not a voice exactly, but something that carried shape like breath forming syllables. You can't hide. Her face drained of color. I felt my knees weaken. For the first time, I wondered if we should leave the apartment for good, but deep down, I already knew. It wouldn't matter where we went. She stopped sleeping. I could see it in her face. Skin pale, eyes ringed dark, movements jerky like every sound made her flinch. When I tried to talk to her, she just shook her head. He's closer now, she whispered. He doesn't even try to hide anymore. That night I stayed with her again. Around 2 a.m., I woke to find her sitting on the floor by the window, the curtains drawn back. She was staring at the street below, lips moving silently. I crept closer. She was whispering something over and over like a mantra. "Don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't..." I followed her gaze despite myself, and there he was. The man in dark clothes, standing perfectly still beneath the street lamp. His head tilted upward, though I couldn't see his face. Not clearly. Just the outline. Watching us, I blinked once, twice. The lamp flickered, and in that stuttering light, he wasn't outside anymore. For the briefest moment, he was in the reflection of the glass, standing directly behind us. I grabbed her arm, yanked the curtain shut, my heart slamming in my chest. But she didn't move. She just kept whispering, louder now. "Don't look. Don't look. Don't..." After that night, she changed. It wasn't gradual, it was sudden, like something inside her snapped. She stopped answering my calls during the day. When I went to her apartment, I found the locks undone, the curtains always drawn, the air heavy and stale. She sat on the couch, motionless, as if waiting. Her phone buzzed constantly with unknown numbers, but she didn't flinch anymore. She just let them ring, her eyes fixed on nothing. One evening, I tried to shake her out of it. I begged her to leave with me, to get out of that building. She turned her head slowly, her lips curling into the faintest smile. "It's too late," she murmured. "He's already here." I felt a chill spread through me. "What do you mean here?" I asked. Instead of answering, she handed me a small recorder. The kind she used for class notes. The red light was still blinking. I pressed play, at first only static. Then beneath it, her voice, frantic, whispering into the mic. "He's not outside anymore. He's in me." The recording ended with a sound I'll never forget. A breath. Long, deep, right next to the microphone, but it wasn't hers. The next day she was gone. I pounded on her door until my fists hurt, but no answer came. The landlord let me in, muttering about complaints from neighbors about noise in the night. Inside, the apartment was empty. Not just of her, but of her presence. No clothes in the closet. No food in the fridge. As if she'd never lived there at all. Except for one thing. Her phone lying in the middle of the floor. The screen still lit with a recording she'd made the night before. I pressed play, hands trembling. Her voice, ragged and uneven, filled the room. "He's closer now. I can feel him in the walls. In the air. He's waiting for you." Then silence. And after a pause, that same deep, unnatural breathing. Slow, heavy, resonant, as if the speaker were pressed against my own ear. I dropped the phone, heart racing, but the sound didn't stop. It continued, all around me. In the vents, in the walls, in the hollow spaces of the apartment. And then, from the fogged bathroom mirror, words began to appear, letter by letter, as though traced by an unseen hand. "Not her. You." I bolted. I didn't even bother locking her door behind me. I just ran down the stairs into the night, lungs burning. Every shadow stretching too long, every sound echoing too close. I told myself if I could just get home, shut my own door, crawl under my own sheets, I'd be safe, that it couldn't follow me outside that building. But as I stumbled into my apartment, slammed the door, and pressed my back against it, the silence was too heavy. The kind of silence that isn't empty but listening. I turned on every light, every lamp, trying to drown the darkness. But the bulbs flickered one by one, until only the dim glow of the hallway remained. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. Hands shaking, I answered. There was no static this time. No distortion. Just breathing. Slow. Heavy. And then, something new. A second voice. Mine. Repeating my own shallow gasps back at me like a cruel echo. I dropped the phone, my pulse hammering. The sound didn't stop. It was in the apartment now, moving closer, step by step, and though I couldn't see him, I knew he was there, watching, waiting. I tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that I was exhausted, hallucinating, dragging my friend's paranoia home with me. But then the footsteps started, not from the hallway, from inside. The sound of weight shifting on the old wooden floorboards, moving slowly, deliberately, closer to where I stood, frozen. My breath came in short bursts, but I couldn't bring myself to move. I turned just once toward the hallway mirror, and he was there, not in the hallway, not in the room, in the reflection. standing directly behind me. His shape was tall, impossibly still, his head tilted at an unnatural angle. The details of his face blurred like smoke trying to form into something human. I spun around, nothing. Just the empty apartment, but in the glass he remained, watching me. The lights flickered, and for a moment I felt it. A hand, cold, resting on my shoulder. And in that silence, a voice, low and broken, seeped through the room like a breath against my ear. You were never hers. I don't remember leaving the mirror. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm still standing there. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on the floor of my apartment, the lights all dead, the night pressing in through the windows. My phone lay beside me, screen cracked, still recording. I played it back. My own voice filled the speaker, whispering, frantic, words I don't remember saying. He's here. He's inside. I can't stop him. Then another voice overlapped mine. Deeper. Rougher. A perfect imitation of my own breath, my own rhythm. But wrong, twisted. I shut it off, but the sound didn't stop. It was still there, echoing through the apartment. I pressed my hands over my ears, but I could still hear it, not through the air. Through me. And when I finally dared to look up, the mirror across the room was fogged again. This time there weren't words. Just a reflection. Not me. Not entirely. A figure standing where I should have been, smiling through the blur, tilting its head the same way he always did. I don't know if I ever left that apartment. I don't know if I'm the one telling you this or if it's already him speaking through my mouth. But if you hear breathing, right now, close to your ear, you'll know he's found you too.